My first exposure to death in an existential way was when I was about maybe 10 years old. I had a cousin who had, at the age of 3 or 4, been burned over 3/4 of his body. He had been playing in his front yard in a cowboy suit that he had gotten for Christmas, tripped over a kerosene lantern. The safety valve was broken. The kerosene spilt. He burned. Doctor said he wouldn't walk again. I remember visiting his house, taking him comic books. It was a brightly, subduedly, I guess, lighted room. Comic books and books stacked around. He was in bed. He not only recovered and walked again, he became an Eagle Scout. And he would ride his bicycle from the south end of Louisville out Cane Run Road to Aunt Rose's farm. And then he and Uncle Manny would walk across the farm to the Ohio River. Uncle Manny would swim back and forth for exercise from the Kentucky shore to the Indiana shore and back. Ronnie, who as an Eagle Boy Scout knew how to swim, waded out into the water to greet him on his return from the Indiana side, got caught in the undertow, disappeared, wasn't found until 3 days later, was buried in his Boy Scout uniform. I remember at the age of maybe 10, suddenly death wasn't an abstract thing that occurred to other people, old folks. I had to go to the church. I didn't want to go. My parents insisted that I go. I went to the church, and it was one of those churches where you had, in leaving the church, walk by the casket. When we got home from the funeral, I was totally perplexed. Went to the basement, had all sorts of questions about death and life. Imponderable questions, questions I couldn't possibly answer. I was frozen. Suddenly a white light appeared, about 5 feet in diameter, drifting off the basement floor. And from that light came this passionate voice. And tried to explain to me what these imponderables meant in a way that a 9-year-old could understand. Also, Ronnie's voice came, and Ronnie said to let him go, that he was happy on the other side and wished to remain there. I never told anybody about this. I didn't tell my parents. I knew my parents wouldn't understand. I didn't tell any of my friends because I knew they would laugh and think I was crazy. Many years passed, and I had a couple of friends who were in U of L medical school, husband and wife team, who later became surgeons. And we had heard of this mystic man in New Albany who was doing readings. And we thought we could go one at a time and maybe get a cognitive map as to how he was getting the answers from the people. My turn came, and I won't go through the whole story, but it was pretty uneventful until at the end of the session he said, "And that white light above your shoulder, it's real. It's your guardian." And he started telling me the whole story of my cousin Ronnie and my cousin's death in the white light. I don't know what this means, if it means anything, but it had a profound effect on me.